Hey there, fellow artists and freelancers. If you're earning royalties from US online marketplaces, you've probably come across something called the W-8BEN form. Now, I know it might sound intimidating, but I'm here to tell you it's really not that scary. In this video, I'll explain exactly what the W-8BEN form is, why you need to fill it out, and most importantly, how to do it step by step. What is the W-8BEN form, and why you need to fill it out? Before we start filling out the form, let's talk about what the W-8BEN form actually is and why you need to fill it in. The W-8BEN is a form for non-US residents who earn income from US-based companies like royalties from selling your art or 3D models on online marketplaces. This form tells those companies that you're not a US taxpayer, so they can apply the correct tax rules. Without this form, U.S. companies are required to withhold 30% of your income for U.S. taxes. But if your country has a tax treaty with the U.S. like the U.K., you can reduce or even eliminate that tax withholding. That's why this form is so important. It makes sure you're not paying more taxes than you should. And here's the good news. This form doesn't go directly to the IRS. It goes to the company that's paying you, like the marketplace you're selling on, so they can apply the right tax rate. So really, it's nothing to be afraid of. You're just making sure everything's set up correctly, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Step 1. Personal information. So, the first section is all about your personal details. In line 1, go ahead and put your full name. I'm going to use Joe Low as an example. Next, in line 2, enter your country of citizenship. For me, even though I don't have British citizenship, I do have a permit to stay in the UK, so I'll put United Kingdom because that's where I'm currently living and paying taxes. In line 3, enter your permanent residence address. This is where you live, not a P.O. box. So, I'll write 123 London Avenue, London, UK. Line 4 is where you put your mailing address if it's different from your permanent address. So, for example, if your mailing address is the same as your permanent address, you can just leave this blank. But if you have a separate mailing address, like a P.O. box or business address, you would enter that here. Step 2. More personal information. Now, here's where we get to line 5, line 7, and line 8. Line 5 asks for a U.S. taxpayer identification number. If you don't have a U.S. Social Security number or IDEN, you can just leave this blank. Most freelancers in the U.K. won't have one, so don't worry about it. Line 7 is for a reference number. This one is optional. You can leave it blank, or if the marketplace gives you a specific number to use for tax purposes, you can put that here. But in most cases, it's fine to skip it. Line 8 asks for your date of birth. So, go ahead and enter your birth date in the MD2YYY format. For example, if you were born on January 1st, 1990, you'd write 1st January 1990. Simple. Step 3. Tax information. Now let's talk about taxes, because this is where people start to worry, but you don't have to. In line 6, it asks for a foreign tax identification number. This is basically your tax number in the country you live in. So, if you're in the UK like me, this would be your national insurance number. If you don't have a tax ID, check the box that says "EFTIN not legally required." Easy, right? Now, let's talk about the tax treaty part. Step 4. Claiming tax treaty benefits. Here's the big one, part 2. This is where you can claim tax treaty benefits. Basically, this allows you to pay a reduced or even 0% tax on your income from US companies. Since I'm living in the UK for nearly 3 years, even though I don't have citizenship, I can still claim benefits under the US UK tax treaty because I'm considered a tax resident. In line 9, I'm going to put United Kingdom. That means I'm claiming that I'm a resident of the UK for tax purposes. Then, in line 10, you'll want to put down the treaty benefits you're claiming. For most freelancers and artists earning royalties, we look at Article 12 of the U.S. UK Treaty, which allows for a 0% withholding rate on royalty income. So, I'm going to write Article 12 and 0% in this section. That means no withholding tax on the money I earn from royalties. That's pretty great, right? Step 5. Certification. Now, finally, it's time to sign it off. In part 3, all you need to do is sign your name and write today's date. So, if I'm Joe Lowe, I sign my name as Joe Lowe, and I'll date it, let's say it's September 19th, 2024, or whatever the actual date is when you fill this out. And that's it. You're done with the form. Pretty easy once you break it down, right? So, now that you've got your W-8BEN form all filled out, you can send it off to the marketplace, and you won't have to worry about that 30% US tax getting taken out of your earnings. Thanks for sticking around. I hope this was helpful. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more tips and tricks for freelancers and artists. Until next time, happy creating!